Hi, I'm Scott Willison, owner of the Confluence Fly Shop in Bellingham, Washington. It's November here up in northwestern Washington, and we're beginning to see some big burly chum salmon coming into our rivers. One of my favorite tactics to fish for chum salmon is to use an inverted fly or jig style fly, often beneath an indicator. You can set the fly above the fish so you're not inadvertently snagging fish. And give it the occasional twitch as it drifts merrily along. And it's a great way to hook chum. This is one of my favorite flies that I call the Jiggler, named after a character from the kids show Adventure Time that my son was into for quite some time. We are going to start with a 60-degree round bend jig hook from Gamakatsu. It's a really strong hook. And this will cause the fly to ride upside down, even with minimal weight on it there. I'm using purple 140 Denier Ultra Thread. And we're going to flip that hook, and on the underside, I'm going to do a medium-sized lead eye here. Just get that started a little ways behind the bend in the hook, and then we're going to make sure we got that thoroughly lashed down there so these eyes don't spin around on the hook. Just doing some figure 8 wraps. Test those, make sure they're not going to spin. You can even add a little dab of brush on Zap-A-Gap to ensure those stay locked in place. We'll flip our hook back over, and we'll wind back to just above where the barb would have been before I pinched it. Next, I'm going to do a dual tail. I'm going to use this beautiful pink and purple two-tone rabbit from Hairline. It's got a really unique look to it. And I'm going to go ahead and cut 2 pieces here because I'm going to use both of them. And trim the end to a nice, neat little point like that. It's going to be less bulky to tie in. We're going to tie this first one in on top of the hook bend, or on top of the hook shank, but we're going to make sure to leave that hide facing up there. I'm going to grab a little bit of Fuschia Flashabou. This is Flashabou 6914. Get maybe, I got about 7 strands or so there. We're going to tie that in midway through the material and then fold it over and wrap back. That way it stays locked into place. And then we'll trim that up roughly the length of the tail. Resize this top piece. I want it about the same length as the one I've got on the bottom. Trim that one to a point as well. And then go right over the top there. In the water, that rabbit is going to move and breathe and reveal some nice little flash in between. Next, I'm going to use some purple Estaz Grande. A nice kind of bulky material to give this fly some profile and give it some nice flash as well. So we'll tie that in right on top of the tail. I'm going to wrap up to not quite behind the eyes. with each time I come around, I like to sweep the fibers back, and I like to give a good tug on that to make sure it's not going to unwind or work its way loose after several fish. Chum can be pretty toothy critters and hard on a fly. I want this thing to last. Alright, we've got that tied down. Next I'm going to do a little head of, this is fluorescent red or pink speckled chenille. And I'm going to tie it in right behind the eyes. I'll keep my thread behind the eyes here. And then I am going to go over the top twice in one direction, behind the eyes, and then back over in the opposite direction. And we'll bind that down. We're actually going to end up tying this one off behind the eyes, which makes for a really durable fly. Build up a nice little thread base there that we're going to cover up in a moment. Alright, next, in keeping with the whole jiggling option, I'm going to do some medium round rubber purple legs. I'm going to separate two long strands here. And then we'll split those and pull them apart. And I just fold that around the thread roughly in the middle. Take some tight wraps and position those right on the side. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side of the hook here. As long as you maintain your thread tension, these will not slip out. Alright, lastly I'm going to finish this fly with a collar of purple Schlappen. I'll trim that kind of down by the fluffy stuff. I don't mind leaving a little bit of fluff in there, it just adds to the movement of the fly. Sure we got that tied down. I'll trim up the legs in a minute there, but it's kind of easier with them longer to sweep them back out of the way so they don't get trapped by this hackle. And I'm just with each wrap I'm making sure to train these fibers backward, so they kind of sweep back over the fly. And we'll do about 3 wraps here. And then we'll wrap over that. Go ahead and fold that feather back there. Take a couple of wraps, get out my little bottle of Brush On Zap-A-Gap, just brush that thread a little bit here, take a few more wraps till that glue is used up, and then we're going to go ahead and complete a whip finish behind the eyes. You can tie this in all sorts of colors, chartreuses and oranges. Pink and chartreuse is a good one, but day in, day out, this sort of hot pink and purple seems to be the one they really like. Okay, so I've trimmed off the tip of that feather, and then I'm going to go about midway through the base of the tail to gauge my length on these rubber legs. Cut those off. And there you have it, the Jiggler, a fabulous chum fly for Western Washington.